10 years back you had a dream and you get a wonderful pumpkin pudding. Now you say, 10 years I've been waiting for that pudding. Try to understand the ridiculous way of mind working. Why hold on to the memory? If certain memory is giving you some mathematical formula, remember it. If it is giving you some lesson, yes. But why all the details? Past things you saw in dream, they have passed on. Why to hold on to all those details? As if the present has no mouth to open. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Om Brahmanandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gaganasadrisham Tattvamasyaadi Lakshyam Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami Om. Adoration Sadguru, who is Brahman, the giver of supreme bliss, embodiment of pure consciousness, one without a second, vast as the ether, infinite, eternal, beyond the three gunas and their modifications, the supreme precept. Yoga Vasistha, Upasama Prakarana, and section number is 47. The story of Gadhi continues, just to give you highlighted points. Gadhi was a great Brahmin, devotee of Lord Vishnu, and suddenly developed the idea of finding out the extension of Maya. Because his scriptures always Maya, Maya, Maya. So, what's Maya? He wanted to know all about Maya. And left the highest goal later. That we must understand the Maya. And Lord Vishnu gave him the boon that he will have that experience. While within the water, as he was doing some ritual, suddenly he had a vision. He got into a special type of a trance. And he saw himself as a baby born in candala family, outcast family. And then the whole story have been told to you. He lived in that country for a while and he had his sons and a big family. But then the country visited by famine and many adversities. He lost all his near and dear ones. And he then went on looking for his fortune. From Chandala country, he went to Ira country. There an elephant garlanded him. He became the royal king. And for a while, for years, he ruled that kingdom in a very profound way, and everyone was happy. But one day his identity was discovered, that he was a candala. Once that was discovered, all people, as if they had committed a terrible crime, they went through self-immolation, terrible, burning themselves alive into blazing fire. Seeing all this happen, he who was known as Gavala, as king, he jumped into it. And now he recovered his memory. He is not all that happened was in his dream-like experience. He came back with that, as if he thought that this is what Maya is all about. Thank God. Vasistha continued, O Rama, amazed and curious, Gadhi then decided to visit the country of Kira. Now, why amazed? He was settling down very happily that he had understood Maya. But so happens that he meets some people who come from Kira country and told him the story of King Gavala. So he was amazed and curious. Kazi then decided to visit the country of Kira. He crossed many rivers, mountains, and forests, and finally reached Kira country. He asked the inhabitants of the city about the candala who had been their ruler, and they all related the very same story which he had experienced during his vision while in the lake. Simple, giving you a simple message that simply because so many people see exactly the way you see it. In your dream, you are seeing a mountain. Not only seeing it, you are a poet, you have written a poetry on it. And there are 1,000 people listening to your poetry, and you sing it and you dance. Thousands of people are seeing you doing it. Couldn't that be real? If only one or two people saw it, it's doubtful that you were about reality. But here, so many people who have gone viral. How can that be unreal? Of course, I'm making all that, but simple point. You wake up to realize all was unreal. Because it is all you experienced as a real in the state of dream. So while dreaming, dream objects are real for you because you yourself are not real. Wake up, neither you nor the dream world was real. Each time you enter dream, your identity changes. But now you have to understand, same thing applies in this practical world. This world is exactly like dream, only its description is different. Dream is every person led by his subconscious experiences the dream. and dreams go on changing. But led by your karma doesn't all work out in subconscious process. Major aspect of karma works out in your waking state. So now, karmic process that gave you dream, the same karmic process is giving you the waking state. And since karmic process is not the reality, it is defined by your karmas. So neither the dream was real nor the waking. And therefore, all the Upanishads are constantly pushing you on. Uttisthata, Jagrata, get up, attain realization. They all related the very same story which he had experienced during his vision. All the time he was thinking it was all just a dream. But now he is seeing exactly the same type of palace. He is remembering various spots, recognizing animals. But you are surprised. But all that I'm saying, recognizing, seeing, behind all that is the mind's limitation. The mind is not enlightened, it's conditioned. He also found the country, its royal palace, all its inhabitants, and all the details of the city to be exactly as he had seen them through the personality of Katanja as King Gavala. As Candala, he was known as Katanja, that was his identity. And became King is Gavala. And his original identity is Gadhi. Gadhi reflected upon his strange experience again and again. He could not understand how the experiences of a dream-like vision could turn into actual realities in the world. He resolved to propitiate Lord Vishnu for the removal of his confusion, and thus practiced austerity in the cave of a mountain for a certain period of time. Pleased with his austerities, Lord Vishnu appeared and said, O Gadhi, now that you have seen my Maya, which has created this world, what do you desire? Well, Gadhi desires more Maya. Gadhi offered flowers and asked with folded hands, O Lord, how is it that what was seen in a dream-like vision has become a reality in this world? How can dreams that arise out of impure vasanas turn into realities in this practical world? Lord Vishnu explained, O Gadhi, the fact that you saw your dream verified in this world does not mean that this world is a reality. Let me give some more details. Many people, and especially sometimes immature aspirants, and sometimes what they consider mature, they may be advanced as well. They talk about their dreams so much, they forget about their daily sadhana. They're doing their sadhana. In the dream, they had a vision or they talked to a deity. and how wonderful it was. But now that dream has captured the mind, and now the person practices sadhana, and every now and then he asks question, how is it I'm not having that wonderful experience I had 10 years ago? Saw the deity coming to me, blessed me, and now for 10 years I've been out of that touch. 10 years back you had a dream and you get a wonderful pumpkin pudding. Now you say, 10 years I've been waiting for that pudding. I don't understand the ridiculous way of mind working. Why hold on to the memory? If certain memory is giving you some mathematical formula, remember it. If it is giving you some lesson, yes. But why all the details? Past things you saw in dream, they have passed on. Why to hold on to all those details? As if the present has no mouth to open. So Lord Vishnu is explaining, or Gadhi, the fact that you saw your dreams being verified in this world doesn't mean that this world is a reality. In fact, the sky, the earth, the mountains, and all that you see are non-existent. Big reality. Brahma Satyam Jagana Mithya. The entire world you are experiencing through your intellect, through your sentiments, through your practical reality, through your senses, all the three planes, they are like, all your experiences are like experiencing a cinema show. They are the workings of your vrittis of the mind. Mind has to be active to give you any experience in anywhere in three planes. The activity of the mind itself is just like projections are cast upon the screen with a certain speed. In between the projections, there is nothing but the screen. But the mind in human being is not advanced enough to see what is in between. Though it happens, suddenly you are worried, sit on your chair, so worried, and you have developed the idea that I will continue to think about it for a whole 1 hour. And suddenly you forget what are you worried about. A crack opened between the vrittis. With enlightenment, even while the vrittis continue, there is a deeper awareness that I am the screen. All these vrittis are mind playing the part. Your mind becomes a little baby. And baby is going to do all its drama. Prakriti, Mother Shakti, Prakriti Shakti of God entertains the baby. But reality is, nothing is real. All human experiences are conditioned by Maya. Dream as well as waking are nothing but variations of Maya. O Gadhi, that which you consider as real is in fact non-existent. That's what you have again and again heard those points. everything that you consider real, but if you try to understand it more philosophically, names and forms, they go on creating an illusion of multiplicity. Names come through your tongue, palabras, words. Form comes through your concepts of your mind. Just suppose you have bought a wonderful building, a residence. What you see in front of you, that's a form. And what you view within yourself, this is mine. A concept, an idea behind the name, behind the word, or behind the form and name, can be this way and that way. In other words, they are mixed up. Caused by your mental projection. If you strip anything that you see, you strip it of name and form, what is left is pure Sat, existence in itself. For mathematics students, easy to understand. Every object is existence in itself plus name and form. Name and form, he's whisperingly. Existence in itself, shout out. But names and forms are variables, and variables are negated in mathematics. They're deleted. Then what is left? Existence in itself. That existence in itself is Sat. That Sat, to better understand, is Chit, pure awareness. That pure awareness is absolute joy. But even to this level of your understanding is projected by your mind, but this is a good projection. Once the mind begins to project that level, now comes intuitional experience. First stage is experience based on purified intellect. As intellect gets more and more purified, you can handle this definition of Brahman, Satchit Ananda. You can allow your mind to enjoy, in spite of all troubles and variations, that Brahman is the underlying reality and I am same as Brahman. And nobody else exists but Brahman. Aham Brahmasmi. And that Brahman is Satchit Ananda. Absolute existence, therefore, absolute awareness. You are existing without awareness, that will be contradictory. And you are full, complete, absolute. You have no choice to be absolutely blissful. Absolute joy. Satchidananda, therefore, is the reality. All else is projected by Maya. O Gadhi, that which you consider as real is in fact non-existent. You are being deluded by the workings of your vasanas. What deludes you? It has three causes. Ignorance is a central cause, the root cause, Avidya, which means you are lacking understanding. That's called ignorance. Ignorance doesn't have any substance. When you understand, then look for ignorance, it is nowhere there. Not understand, you have a lot of trouble. Misunderstand a person, and you have a lot of trouble. Understand a person, trouble goes. Who created the trouble? Look for the misunderstanding and beat it down. But you can't do that. It doesn't. When you look for it, it's nowhere to be found. So that's the role of avidya, ignorance. But ignorance becomes more expressive in your subtle desires, called vasanas. Now, the vasanas, if you study, then you begin to understand that the reality, the world of reality, or simply say reality, is one and the same. In the same house, a big floor, and suppose 100 people have come into a party and they are now they are sleeping. Someone looks into it and reports, they're all sound asleep. But each one is roaming in his own world. Each one is having so many experiences led by their vasanas. And sometimes 2 or 3 of them may be having very similar dreams. Not exactly the same, it's impossible. Not only 2 or 3 of them will have similar dream, maybe even thousands of them may have similar dream. What I'm implying to say, all human beings are thousands and millions. And they have the same dream. They look up to the sky in order to put their head up. They don't know that they are down the Earth planet. They're not looking up, they're looking down. I'm joking. You don't know whether you are looking up or looking down. You're living in a world of Maya. Role of vasanas is very important to understand. Let me remind you of those fish tail. A gardener, fisherman, returning home. Let me come back to my story. There are three fisherwomen. I'm fishing out my story. When they were returning home, they confronted a stormy condition. And so they received hospitality from a gardener. And gardener gave a wonderful room, decked it with so many most fragrant flowers of his garden. And these three slept, tried to sleep, but they started complaining. Such a nasty place. All this smell. One of them, considering herself very wise, to have an idea. Bring the net, little piece of the fishing net, and let's cut it, put swab on our noses, and sprinkle some water. And now breathe deeply. You will shut out all the fragrance. They don't call it fragrance, all this nasty smell. It's a humorous story, but that's exactly what happened. Every human being led by Vasana is one of those fish women. And the world that is filled with the fragrance of God, that world is shut out by the swab of your vasanas. Next section. Vasistha continued. Gadhi again and again went to the forest of the Chandalas, as well as to Kira. Human mind has the habit of Abhyasa, repeatedly. You get into a trouble, the mind repeats it again and again and again. Even when the trouble has gone away, it repeats. The risk is there, the trouble will come back. You repeat it too much. And you learn lesson from it. Therefore, if you were to allow the positive in you to be repeated again and again, you are now moving away from ignorance to enlightenment. So again and again he went to the forest of the Chandalas, and he could remember people from that forest. Many of his own were gone, but still he could remember people, talk to them, but of course he didn't tell them what he was really doing. He was trying to satisfy his mind, and he sees all the details. And even though Lord Vishnu said all is Maya, his mind is working on a different level. How can it be Maya when it is the same every day? If something is proven illusion and it went away, that's fine, that's Maya. But it is not proven illusion. You are saying it is illusion, but it is laughing at me. It is asserting itself again and again. Again and again, confusion darkened his reason. So again he took recourse to austerity. Simple moral is being given that as an aspirant, when you heard the teaching, Brahman alone is real. Your practice should be sustained practice, Abhyasa. And your Upasana, your meditation, your sadhana should be repeated again and again. Each time confusion rules over your mind, turn to your prayer, satsanga, and surrender to God. An answer will come from God. In a storyline, God appears. How do you recognize him? You count his 4 arms. In practice, you don't have to wait for that. Your own conscience speaks out, gives you a guidance. And that Lord Vishnu within. Lord Vishnu said, O Gadhi, ask, what more do you want? Gadhi said, O God of gods, for 6 months I have wandered in the forest of the Chandalas and in the country of Kira, and I have heard the same story again and again from the people living there. There has been no discrepancy in their accounts. All illusory perceptions are contradicted, like dream upon waking. But these happenings remain uncontradicted. How then am I to understand that all this is nothing but Maya? It's the mind's argument. Simple way to understand, if you are dreaming and not waking, that your dream will continue. In your dream effort itself is a part of your dream. It's not a part of waking up. The dream itself has manipulated your effort. Lord Vishnu replied, sometimes many people may experience similar dreams, and yet those dreams remain unreal. Try to understand that from a very broad point of view. When I say many people may experience the same, all humanity is many people. They experience the same world. When you talk about Australia, Himalayas, they understand all over the world. Same world. But that doesn't make it. The world is real because millions of human beings recognize the world and describe it. The sky is blue and rainbows have wonderful colors and all that. But what I'm leading to understand, only human beings are not the only living beings on this earth. Now ask the dogs about the nature of the world. Come in dog shoes. The word description from dogs for awareness, description will be totally different. All your politics, all your history, all your have no meaning to them. If you are surprised, ask it, come to a bird world of birds. From the bird's point of view, they have their own world. If Papa bird deals with the Mama bird, all their reality is they have their identity, their house, the identity of the branch, identity of the fruits, identity of the project they have to do. They have their whole world. And now, come to further understanding, not only as all human beings in as one community, or not only all birds, but every little soul. Even if you see 100 birds or 1,000 birds together, every bird is living a different life. 1,000 human beings, all in a similar situation. And yet, everyone has a different way of experiencing the world. Your mind has to handle it. But instead of going into all the details, all you have to understand your mind, and all you are experiencing through your mind is not real. Therefore, call it dreamlike, call it illusory, call it mirage, don't call it at all. And day by day you know it. You become tired of it. You shake that all off and go to your bed. And you don't miss. When you throw away the whole world, don't miss anything about it. Be mature. What is all this about? Why the I am becomes so restless, in turmoil, when the entire world can move away and nothing has happened? Then you begin to distance yourself from your mind. Mind, intellect, etc. is not self. Not self, stay naughty out there. I am the self. The discriminative intellect, using the same mind to understand the difference between the self and the not self. That type of understanding in the mind is just like a cloud has allowed light to pass through. The same cloud that was restricting the sun now is glorifying the sun. And while doing so, melting away. Try to figure out that state of mind. That is what your goal is. Otherwise, your mind is a fishy mind. Due to the similarity of prarabdha karma, many soldiers come together to fight a war, wherein they attain victory or defeat. Either they are killed or they kill their enemies. They all have similar experiences. Similarly, led by their conditioned minds, people of Kira and Bhuta Mandal experienced similar happenings, which were nothing but reflections in Maya. Lord Vishnu said all that. He's still watching his head. Gadhi couldn't handle all this. Then Lord Vishnu comes to a little different explanation. From practical point of view, it is practically real. What he says, once there lived a candala who had his home in Bhuta Mandal. Let me go one step further, before. Maya renders impossible possible. You, the people of Kira country, as well as those of Bhuta Mandal, those of Gavala, were equally deluded. O Gadhi, although from the absolute point of view all names and forms are illusory, I will explain your identity as a Chandala from a relative point of view. Once there lived a Chandala who had his home in Bhuta Mandal and who became the king of Kira country. So, Vishnu tells the history now that there was really a Chandala. And really all this happened to a different soul, led by the soul's karmic process. Because he had asked for understanding Maya, Maya brought about a momentary identity with that soul. That's what Lord Vishnu did. While he was inside, suddenly his identity shifted. And therefore he experienced himself those things that those people that had already passed on in history. This explanation is to help Gadhi's mind to not to become too abrupt. When you are eating something and chewing it and enjoying it, another person says it is illusion. And that who can't handle that. O Gandhi, in the same way, your present identity as an individual personality is a form of reflection cast in the stream of your mind. You are not this personality, and the world in which you live is merely an expression of Maya. When you rise above Maya, you will discover yourself as the supreme reality. Sometimes a person completely forgets an object or situation which he had experienced before, as if it had never existed. And sometimes an object never experienced before seems as if it had been experienced in the past. This is all due to the workings of Maya. It is explaining the mystery of recollection. Simply because we are recollecting very clearly, that doesn't mean it is real. And simply because we are not recollecting, therefore, what you are not recollecting is unreal. Your spiritual identity you are not recollecting due to ignorance. But that is your identity, like it or not. Just as yogis who possess the knowledge of the three periods of time, view future happenings as if they are contents of the past. Again, it's different ways of trying to explain. Called adhikari bhed. One state of mind can understand a higher way of explanation. But mind has different stages. And Lord Vishnu said, all this is just dream, that's enough, there's nothing to explain further. But mind that is so gripped by the reality of the world wants to know why all is Brahman. Why did I suffer all this? And why I had such wonderful experiences? And so forth. And therefore, Lord Vishnu says, suppose you are a yogi. This again is a supposition, not a reality. No, when a person says, a yogi knows all the three periods of time, all that it means he knows God. If you want to know all the days that are to come, just know the sun. If you know the sun, you know all the days that are going to be in future, all that was in the past, and all that is in the present. But you create in your mind that every little detail that you are going to experience has been written down in a, like written words in a stone, unchanging things, already written, and that's what you are going to go on reading it, experiencing it. Not a single experience is new. A yogi already knew three periods of time. He knew when will you sneeze when you wake up. And this should not distract your mind. It has nothing to do with real attainment. This is not the goal. And any yogi who says he knows it, it is not a real yogi at all. Those who are ignorant are deluded by such notions as I am the body, this property is mine, these possessions are mine. The enlightened ones are not deluded by these, but this is the real teaching. On the other hand, an enlightened sage possesses the vision, I am all this. Aham Brahmasmi. Ahame Vedam Sarvam. Two ways. I am Brahman, nothing is real. I alone am in all names and forms. Both are one and the same thing. Such a sage is like a ship in the ocean of the world, unaffected by the currents of pleasure and pain. But why is he in a ship? because he can help others to cross over the ocean. And with this I will conclude. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.